September 25th, 2019. I'm getting ready to go in and do final inspection, final honey pull. We'll see what they've accumulated in these supers in the last couple weeks. They've been very, very busy. Lots of goldenrod, aster, jewelweed, holy basil, sweet Thai basil, large leaf basil, calendula, and many other available resources. And they've been pulling it hot and heavy with this beautiful warm weather we've had. But it is the end of September, and it's time for me to pull whatever remaining honey I can pull and start letting these colonies get ready for winter and build up a brood nest. So it's time to jump in. Without further ado, let's get it on. So, top two boxes. So we're on the all the way right hand hive. You're facing from the front. Top two boxes have some drawn out comb, nothing special. First frame has some drawn out comb, not much. Next frame has some drawn and capped comb and some nectar that isn't done yet. And drawn comb on the other side. I almost want to let them fill that out another couple days rather than pull it. Like, will they fill and cap more of that? I think we let them go a little longer. They probably will. I'm not quite ready to treat oxalic acid yet. So maybe we'll hold off and let them keep working this. I'll decide in a minute here. Okay, so real quick, like, this super has a lot of stuff that isn't capped yet. So like, here's a good example. A lot of capped on there, a lot of nectar filling in, but not totally done. The last few frames I did are like that. You know, one side is almost full and capped, the other side is partially full, filling and being drawn, but not complete yet. So I'm not sure what to do with this. I think I'm going to let this go another week, given the weather forecast and the resources available, and hope they fill it in a little more. This one, same thing. Well, I need a GoPro. See, I ripped a chunk of burr comb out of there. Let me see. Oh God, I'm sorry, honey. I didn't mean to crush you. Yeah, same deal. So that's this hive for now. And so this is the last frame I just pulled from that hive. You can see, again, we got nectar in on both sides. Some of it's capped, not done yet. I don't know if they'll make it in another week. It's not probably likely, but we'll let them fill them up a little more. And that box came from the original hive set I got with all the hives and pieces and stuff. And that box is out of plywood. I gotta set that frame in there better. And so it's fallen apart. And so frames have fallen down through a little bit. So I'm gonna take this box off since we now have empty supers. I'm gonna use this box and put it back on after I take a look at the next level down and get a look at this colony a little closer. So that's where we're at. This is Hive 18 OR3-S1. Lost a swarm in the spring. And so here we are down into the top brood box. My colonies are all double deep brood boxes, and I think I'm going to keep that. I like that. They have lots of reserves to go to. It looks like this is full of honey. There is a tremendous amount of burr comb in there. I don't really want to go tearing that all apart to inspect it. So I think what I'm going to do is pop the seam between the two boxes and have a look at this from the bottom and just see that it's A, heavy enough to be full of honey, and B, looks like it's mostly honey in it. Just want to make sure they have good resources available. Don't want to leave my bees shy on resources ever. I think they will have plenty, but we'll just be double sure. And then I still have to come back and do mite testing, and then possibly oxalic acid if there is a mite load that requires oxalic acid. But anyway, we'll carry on. Okay, just hefting it. It's certainly heavy enough. I'm having trouble holding it up long enough to get you a shot. So I would say that there's plenty. And it's good. So, answer, yes, that box is chock full of honey. There might even be a little brood comb up in there, but it doesn't really look super broody. But lots of honey, lots of resources. That box was so heavy it was difficult to lift up and set off to the side, so that's good news. And looks like very strong colony and bee activity down here in the bottom brood box. I think until I'm ready for hive inspection, I'm not going to do any more tearing apart of this. I really don't want to disturb them any more than I have to. But that's all good signs as we head into fall and winter here. So I'm going to close this one back up, put this last super back on. Hopefully they'll fill a little more of that up before the season finishes, and we can pull off just a little more honey at the end of the season. I know it's a squeeze, but there is a real heavy nectar flow, and I want to take maximum advantage of it. Alright, well, this is very exciting. These are some very healthy, happy bees, and they've been very productive so far, and I can't wait to manage them better next year now that I have a little more knowledge. Alright, close it back up. On to the next. Hive 18OR2. This is the middle hive. This is the one that just rocked for the summer. Blew up from slow in the spring to explosion. So I just pulled this super off. This was the top one. Very little drawn comb, if any. Very little activity in the super. Kind of expected that given the late time in the season that I put it on. I'm going to take a look in this one here. I suspect this one probably is similar. But if there's any honey going, we'll make decisions from there. But so far, no super production, not expecting much. This next one down has a bunch of honey in it, but it's going to be tricky to get off. I may try and get it off today. I came pseudo prepared for that, so we'll see. Anyway, that's where we're at. Just as suspected, not much activity. Some drawn comb, which will work out nice for next year, but overall, they weren't really doing much with this yet. That's okay. Below that is this medium super, which actually came on with this hive back in the fall. I left on over the winter because I just wanted to make sure they had enough food, because the guy I got the bees from said, you know, it doesn't hurt to leave them some extra. But given how they came through this last winter, and how active and well the colony is, I think I'm going to pull this off for honey. Should be like 25 or 30 pounds or so. Actually, that's a fairly shallow or fairly shallow medium. Might even be a shallow super, so maybe less, maybe 20. But should be nice honey. And I'm going to pull it off. And yeah, get them back down to just the double brood boxes and set them up for winter. And of course we'll assess at least the top box and probably have a look down into the brood nest quick today while we're in here. That's that. Alright, well I pulled one frame off, and yeah, so none of these frames in this medium have a bottom to the frame, so this is really just set up as brood box stuff. I'm going to scrape and clean down all this extra comb here, get this cleaned up, and just go back to a regular 2-box setup. And I'll show you the comb in this one. They really did a nice job of building beautiful comb with just the top frame as their guide. A little bit of sideways action here and there, but anyway, that should be some beautiful comb honey. So I have no complaints. I really enjoy the comb honey with the wax in it now. Didn't used to when I was a kid, but I do now. Great in coffee with a little cocoa oil. Anyway, I'm going to get on with my chores. Oh boy, that was a bit of a cleanup job, but got all the burr comb off. got most of that in here. Couldn't get quite all the bees off, but not too bad. There's only a couple there. I do have one coming into the camera here. Anyway, so I'm looking at this. This is pretty much full of honey. I'm going to crack this quick and just do a lift and a quick look in here. But I don't even think I'm going to take this all the way off because I think they're solid. And then we'll just come back and as soon as we can do testing for mites, do that and box them up and maybe do some back feeding at the end here. We'll see. Anyway, pretty happy about that. Pulled that medium super off. Got most of the bees out with smoke. A trick I use, don't know if other beekeepers will approve of this, but a trick I use, I take the bee super, here I'll use a deep for example on this. I take the super, I set it on my nice little stand here, and like if something like that where I can't get the frames out to clear them with the bee brush, I set it on the stand like this, and I take the smoker underneath it, and I drive the smoke up through from the bottom, and most of the bees fly out off the top. So that's a fairly easy way to clear bees off that I've found so far as that goes. What I really need to do is get escape boards and put them on a couple days in advance, and we'll just let the bees exit on their own. Probably next year I will implement that, because that just seems easier and less invasive overall. Alright, onward. So I just cracked the seam here and lifted this a little bit, hefted this. This isn't as heavy as the one that's full of honey over here, the second one up. And I looked a little closer and you can actually see when I did that burr comb removal, there's actually some pollen. See that yellow pollen? So it looks like they might have some pollen resources, and if there's pollen resources, there might also be some brood resources in this. So I'll have to be careful when I come in to do the inspection later on for mites and go down into the bottom brood box to get bees for mite testing. But overall I think they're pretty well on resources, and like I said, I probably will backfeed them with some sugar here at the end just to make sure that they can backfill this whole hive and be prepared for a long winter and come out with a strong colony in the spring. And I got a yellow jacket. Look at him coming in to mess with me and my bees. Messed with the wrong dude, buddy. Nope. Not a friend of yellow jackets. Alright, we're going to cap this back up. Let this poor disturbed colony get back to business. Okay, so this is the top super that was on the first hive. This one, 18 OR1. Just some comb honey in here that they built up, because when I harvested the medium out, I never put new frames in because I didn't have any with foundations yet. So I'm probably going to just harvest this comb honey out into the comb honey spare bin here. Clean it up, clean up the burr comb, put the cover back on, and let them call it a season. Anyway, that's where we're at with that. I'm going to keep getting busy. Sun's going down soon. Alright, that's it. It's out. It's cleaned up. My gloves, hands, and now the camera are covered in honey. I'm closing this up, moving on. So here we are the next day. You can see some bees coming in looking to rob. That's all the comb we pulled off. And I'm not going to open this up with the bees coming into the greenhouse looking to rob. I am going to let them clean up the honey on the outside of that. That's fine. Yeah. And so I did end up leaving the one super on the all the way right hive. We'll go take a look at that quick. Okay, so here we are. So I'd say the frames on that top super on the right hand hive in this frame are about 3/4 full, and we still have a solid honey flow. Forecast is still for fairly warm, pretty warm weather. So I'm going to let them go. I think they might be able to fill most of that. I don't really want to extract honey that hasn't been dried down completely, because it might spoil. So I'm going to let them finish along, and then we'll pull that a little later. I did leave these other empty boxes out here. Probably leave them out today and tomorrow, something like that. Give them time to pull any extra honey, or whatever resources they want out of them before I pull them in and close them up for the winter storage. But overall, we did pretty well. You can see I did leave a little bit of comb, burr comb there on the landing of that one hive. I figured they could rob that off as well and, you know, make use of it. Anyway, overall, a pretty good season for a very inexperienced beekeeper. I learned a lot of excellent information this year. Bees all did really well, despite my inexperience. Fortunately, they don't really need my help all that much, but I'll be able to manage them a little more effectively and efficiently, and understand, you know, when honey flows are and the life cycle of the seasons, so to speak, a little better now, having both spent a lot of time learning and spent a lot of time, you know, actually observing how they work. I want to throw a couple of shout outs real quick here to Frederick Dunn's YouTube channel, and also to a Canadian Beekeeper's blog channel. Both of those have been fabulous information for learning about keeping bees and managing bees. Frederick Dunn has some excellent home beekeeper stuff, and Canadian Beekeeper's Vlog is he's a commercial beekeeper up in Canada, Saskatchewan, I believe, and he's got like 12 to 1,500 hives, and so he really has management down very well. And so I've learned a tremendous amount of information from him as well. So thanks to both of those guys. Thanks to my viewers and subscribers for watching and supporting the channel. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you not subscribed or you want to like this video. Don't forget to hit the bell icon if you want to get notifications. And again, I thank you for watching the Farmacy Seeds Network.